Hey, welcome. I hope you're doing great tonight. And we're just going to go live on Instagram as well. Give me a moment. Yes, here we are. Yeah, perfect. Tonight, we're going to talk about something really important, and that is how can you or anyone else transform feelings of loneliness into feelings of lasting love. And there's a reason we've decided to talk about loneliness tonight. Number one, I came across this really interesting piece of information that in this world, overflowing with people, literally, 1 in 5 feels chronically lonely. It means these people, while they're awake during the day, most of the time, most of their lives, they feel lonely. And the second reason that makes talking about loneliness really important is suicide, suicidal thinking, suicidal behavior, and suicide attempts. There is a strong correlation between suicidal behaviors, suicidal attempts, and someone feeling lonely. So it could be, as per the data, loneliness could be one of the key drivers to people ending their lives. And the third reason is that there is a strong evidence between feeling lonely and there's a thing called metabolic syndrome. In simple words, loneliness leads to metabolic syndrome, and metabolic syndrome eventually leads to increased probability of dying of a heart attack or stroke. It leads to diabetes and many other serious conditions. So when someone says, I'm feeling lonely, and we just laugh it out, we need to really step back and think that loneliness is actually a very, very serious thing. And if someone is struggling with loneliness, we need to know that it can have lasting, devastating impact on someone's health and someone's life. It can actually compel someone to end his or her life. And tonight, we're going to look into what research says about managing loneliness. And then tomorrow, we'll take it forward from here and we will discuss something I call the relationship map. A primary reason a lot of people remain stuck in loneliness or in relationships where, although they are with someone, still they feel lonely. And I'm going to show you a relationship map which shows how relationships evolve. And if you understand the stages of evolution of your relationship, your love-based relationship, you can manage each stage much, much better. And you can literally enjoy the process, enjoy the entire journey. Right? Now, hi guys. Well, hi Sonakshi, hello Guinea, hello Kanksha, hi Sonam, welcome. Now, there are certain personality traits that research says if you have those or if you display those, the probability that loneliness will actually cause you physical problems and diseases, the probability goes up. And there are 3 traits that I want to highlight. Trait number 1 is being impulsive. So if you feel that you're impulsive, that you have a feeling and you act on the feeling without thinking, you see something online and you just go and buy, someone says something to someone else and you feel, oh, it's an attack onto you, and so you jump into the conversation to fight out. So basically you are acting on your emotions and feelings without applying any reason or rational thought. So if someone is impulsive, it can actually compound or increase all the problems we just discussed. The second behavior is being closed, which in other words is like you're not flexible. So if you have a plan and some things do not work out, or your friends might say, suggest a change in plan, you're not really open. If you believe in something, even if someone shows you evidence that your belief that worked well in the past, however, there are better ways of doing things, you still decide to really not pay any attention and stay closed and stick to whatever you believe in. And there are so many ways that you disagree with people. Because you disagree with people, because you're rigid, you often end up picking up fights. You often end up lonely because at the end of the day, nobody wants to be with someone who is always like, my way or just leave. So impulsivity is number one, being closed, being rigid, lack of flexibility in thinking is number two. And number three is if you feel hostile, if at the drop of a hat, you have feelings of anger towards other people. Let's say you read a piece in news and about something happening in the other part of the world, but you get triggered and you have intense anger towards someone you don't even know, and then everyone around you suffers your anger. And people who kind of do not agree with you or probably believe differently, you have feelings of hostility, like you look at them as if they are your enemies. So if you have these three traits, you're impulsive, you act on your feelings without really thinking, verifying, without looking for evidence. Number two, if you are full of hostility, like people who don't agree with you or people probably who you do not go along very well with, you consider them your enemies. And number three, if you're closed, the probability that the metabolic syndrome, probability of all the diseases, all the complications that happen because you're lonely, they will go through the roof. And while this is what the research says, and I was thinking about it, what kind of traits actually leave someone lonely? Why there are some people in the world that are lonely, even when there are like billions of people on the planet, and many other people also feel lonely. And I was thinking, could it be that being impulsive, acting on your feelings, whatever you feel, you believe it's real and you have to act on it, being closed and being hostile, carrying resentment and hatred and anger about other people, you believe, you feel have caused you harm within yourself? Could it be that people who have these feelings or have these traits, they drive people away from them, ending up lonely? And once they end up lonely and they continue to have these traits, then they get all sort of physical, emotional diseases. And even, in some cases, unfortunately, people are compelled to end their life. What do you think about it? Do share. Now, there is one way of dealing with loneliness that a lot of us really engage in these days, especially this culture, which is the hookup culture. Now, if you're lonely and if you're feeling lonely, should you really get into casual hookups or should you wait until you find someone with whom you really feel a deep connection? Now, there's some interesting data from research, and there are 2 points to consider before getting into a casual hookup that involves having sex, intercourse. So there was an experiment conducted, and they found that people who are in severe depression, which means they are in deep depression, they're clinically diagnosed with depression, and they show many features, many symptoms of depression, and who have intense feelings of loneliness. They are feeling lonely like crazy. I mean, loneliness is driving them nuts. They're literally not able to function. If such people enter into casual hookups, which involves having sex, after 4 months, when they actually studied them again, they felt the feelings of loneliness had actually gone down and the symptoms of depression had lessened. So if someone is like really drenched into depression, is extremely lonely, that this person's life is completely, like it's not moving anywhere, maybe a casual hookup is a good idea. The other research, however, is more interesting. Now, this group of people, they had like feelings of loneliness, but not really severe feelings of loneliness. They're like, yeah, I feel lonely most of the time. And they were kind of depressed, but like a few symptoms of depression, not really intense chronic depression. At times they feel not so interested in life. At times they're like, I don't have any friends. Now, if these people got into casual hookups and had casual sex, 4 months down the lane, when they were examined again, the researchers found that this group of people actually had worse loneliness. They were feeling more lonely and they were more depressed than before. And I've shared with you the experiment, and here is what I feel about it. If you are like really sorted in life, if you are living an okay life, you feel depressed sometimes, you feel lonely sometimes, you may not have a lot of friends, casual sex is a really bad idea. And if you get into casual hookups, casual dating, you will end up lonely. You might end up increasing your depression. And I've seen this in real life. And a lot of my clients who are depressed and who are lonely, who do not have a lot of friends, when they come for therapy and when I take history, I really, I see a pattern that many of them are involved in multiple recurring casual relationships. When I say casual relationships or casual sex, I mean you don't feel a connection. It's very transactional. It's like, okay, I need this, you need this, let's just do it, and that's it. There's no emotional connection, no strings, nothing. So this is what research says about hookups as a mean of curing loneliness. Not really a good idea. Only it works when someone is really intensely, completely like locked in a room or something like that. The third thing that a lot of us are doing these days to cure loneliness is like using social media. So is social media a good idea? Will using social media help me cure my loneliness? And well, there is some interesting things happening here. The way you use social media is going to determine whether social media will increase or amplify your loneliness, or it will decrease your loneliness. And I'll give you an example. So there are three things. Number one, if you just go on social media, Instagram, and all you do is scroll mindlessly, you're just watching reels, and that's all. This is mindless scrolling, which is like passive consumption of data. It's going to worsen your feelings of loneliness. The second, if you go on Facebook and you see a post from your friend and you simply just like it or love it, that's all. This is also kind of passive consumption, and you're not really connecting with your friend, and it's going to worsen feelings of loneliness. On the other hand, if you're actively engaging, connecting with your friends or people or strangers on social media, which means, for example, you're watching this live stream and maybe you find some information, you're my friend. So you write me a nice warm message, like a paragraph. Hey, I saw your live stream and this is what I thought. I like this point. You're actually making an effort to share what you feel about what I've shared. It could be I'm on Facebook, I open my Facebook and I see my friend's picture that she's somewhere nice and she's looking pretty, and I sit down, I look at the picture, I notice certain things, and I take out time to write a nice beautiful message to my friend. Now this is not passive consumption. This is active engagement. And if you actively engage with people or strangers on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, it helps with loneliness. It reduces the feelings of loneliness. So the way you engage with people, it's like casual engagement versus serious, emotional, connection based engagement that determines. And the third point about using social media is if you use social media to really connect with people and fix appointments, so from Facebook to face meetings, if that's the purpose of social media, social media is a very good tool to cure your feelings of loneliness, right? Good to know that you're enjoying the content. And then there was a study, very interesting study, and well, what they found that people who are feeling lonely, usually they shower multiple times in a day. So they bathe 2-3 times, and they take hot showers, and they take longer showers, longer warm showers. So what research has found that there's a connection between physical feelings of warmth and social warmth, which is like not feeling lonely, not feeling like there's nobody. So one of the ways, if you're feeling lonely and you do not have access to people, is really to go take a nice, long, warm shower. And if you do this for some time, it'll make you feel good, warm, not that lonely, right? And the last point for tonight, which is very close to me, and which is a part of the relationship map that we are going to share tomorrow in the live stream, is that actually loneliness is a gift. If you see that I'm lonely, even when there are so many people in the world and there's nobody with me, I'm not able to connect deeply with someone, or I try to connect with people and eventually I end up lonely again, I'm not able to maintain and sustain these connections, you really need to see that it's nature's way of telling you something, that perhaps you're not yet ready for a deep, meaningful connection. And this is why, even if you force yourself into relationships, they don't work and you struggle in them. So, what does it mean? It means you need to focus on 3 things. When I work with people who are chronically lonely, who have multiple relationship failures, the first thing that stands out is they have trauma. They bring trauma from their past into their present, because of which they're not able to engage in their current relationship with 100%. So if you're lonely, perhaps nature is trying to tell you that this is your time to do self-healing. Heal your past traumas. Do it by yourself. Find a professional, but do it first. So the first thing, if you're lonely, is you really need to sit down and really ask yourself, what traumas, what past patterns do I bring into my present? And they are keeping me lonely, or they are making my relationships difficult. They're driving people away from me. The second thing is skilling. So first is healing, second is skilling. That what are my strengths? How can I amp up my strengths so that I become more valuable to the world? I can add more creative value, more value to the people I get connected with. So perhaps the nature wants you to really enhance yourself. So when you enhance yourself, you will eventually get noticed by a lot of people. A lot of people will begin to see more value to you than what meets the eye. And naturally, in a relationship, value, if you are adding value to people's lives, bringing a smile on their face, or in a one-on-one romantic relationship, you help your partner in so many different ways. Your presence is empowering, inspiring. The probability your relationship will last goes up. So the first thing is healing, the second thing is skilling, and the third thing that, if you feel you are lonely and that really helps, is basically find people who are underprivileged. Find people who cannot do anything for you. Go, work for them, support them, do things for them. So, what you're doing when you're really working with people who cannot give you anything in return is you are shifting the focus from me first to others. And a lot of the times, a lot of people who end up lonely, they end up lonely is because they are too upset, they're too self-centered. They're not aware of it. It's not intentional, by the way. But it's like they're not able to really, think about others first. So if everyone is sitting on the table and everyone's hungry, they don't care about others. The food comes and they'll jump on the food. They're not able to share what they have with grace and ease. They're too much into themselves. And because of which, they find it difficult to have really easy, happy, joyful relationships. So helping others who cannot help you in return will help you shift your focus from self. And it will also teach you, train you in the beautiful art of giving without expecting. And guess what? One of the keys to making any relationship beautiful, even a romantic one, is to learn to give love without any expectation, without expecting to get it back. And if you can do that, if you can reach a place in your life where you can just give love, and even if you're not loved back, it doesn't change the way you feel for your partner, you will find it, life and love becomes really, really interesting. And tomorrow, when I share with you the relationship map, you will notice that loneliness is actually the first milestone on your journey to love, on your journey in love. And when you reach this milestone, the milestone of loneliness, you got to do three things: healing, skilling, and helping others. And once you have the entire map, you'll be able to really, make your relationship and love life really beautiful. I hope it helps. And let's take a look at the questions if we have. We could actually take some calls if someone wants to have a conversation. Hang on. Yes. Okay. Mobile. Yeah. Okay, mobile connection is on. Yes, here we go. Okay, feel free to call. You can reach me or call me on 7051 007051. Okay, we have a question from Sonam that, is the fear of effort keeping them from forming meaningful connections? Fear of effort. Interesting question, Sonam. I feel effort becomes or feels effortless when you are in love with what you're doing. And I think what I've noticed, that when you're madly in love with someone, you end up doing things for this person that involve tremendous effort, but you don't feel a thing. This is the beauty and the glory of feelings of love. And if someone has to make an effort, I think the person is not really emotionally connected with the partner in a way. And then this person has to make a lot of effort. And when you have to make a lot of effort, kind of, it's a matter of time that people give up. And I have not really come across anyone who's consciously processing information like, oh, relationship is a lot of hard work. Yeah, I've heard people say that, oh, yeah, relationship, I don't have time for relationships. They consume a lot of energy. And I think these people with such statements, they have not understood the power of relationships. When I say power, I mean that if you're trying to achieve something in life and if you have a meaningful, empowering relationship, it empowers you to a degree that whatever you're trying to achieve, you can get it faster, easier, and the process of getting becomes fun on the way. And when you have someone to share the falls and the fruits of the journey. I hope that helps. Thank you, Sergeant. Skilling, someone is asking, what do you mean by skilling here? Skilling simply means that you become more valuable. You start learning something that helps you become more value to others. You could learn a language so that you can connect with more people. You can assist people. You can pick up art so that you can do art and bring more joy to the world. You can do it. So you identify something that makes you more useful. And one of the things about skilling yourself is that anytime you want to master a skill, it teaches you focus, it teaches you consistency, and it teaches you the art of delayed gratification. It teaches you to be in the flow. So if you, let's say, want to pick up the skill of playing guitar, if you start learning guitar today, and in 2 years you master guitar and you can create beautiful music on a guitar, but when you started, you were at zero, this journey is going to be very interesting. Initially, there'll be excitement and high. Oh, I'm going to learn guitar and I'm going to be amazing and awesome in playing guitar. But then after a while, the initial high fades away. Now, if you still stick with the process of learning guitar when the initial high is gone, your fingers are bleeding, your fingers are paining, and it's the same routine you have to do every day, every day, every day, and you're able to sustain it for kind of like period like 2 years. Eventually you end up again in a high, but this time the high you get at the end of the tunnel is the high that'll stay with you for life. This is the high that you can actually share with others in the form of music, in the form of poetry, and you can light up souls, bring smiles on the faces, and bring people out of darkness through your music. So the process of learning music is similar to process of getting into a relationship. There's this initial high, and most relationships crumble when the initial high fades away, the initial attraction is gone, and then there's this rough patch which appears boring, mundane. But if you have determination, if you have consistency, if you have perseverance, these qualities, you will sail through, and eventually you reach the second shore of the process, wherein you again feel a high, which is perpetual, which is lasting, which stays for life. So I think when you skill yourself, when you actually go for mastering any skill, what happens, you get the skill, which is of course useful, but you also grow in you certain qualities which are essential for actually having a meaningful and beautiful relationship. Okay, we have a question from Samya. Hi, Veena. Uh, how do we progress through healing? I would say if you have tried healing and it has not really worked for you, my go-to advice would be find someone who can help you, and find someone who's trained, who's been through it, and who understands you, who connects with you. It definitely helps to seek help. And there should be no shame in seeking help, because when you seek help, you can feel empowered and then you can help others. Okay, we have another question, which is, what is the foundation of a healthy relationship? Healthy people, two people who are getting into a relationship, if they feel healthy, they feel happy, they feel grounded, they feel focused. That's the foundation. The Good relationship is just going to be a byproduct of two happy, focused, purposeful individuals coming together. True love exists? Well, yes. But then we have to get in touch with it within ourselves. It's our own personal journey. And having a partner certainly helps. And I always say that, first you have to find true love within yourself, and then you can share it with someone you meet on the outside. And I call it love at first insight. Okay. I hope it helps. Yes. So we're not taking any calls tonight. And that is great. So tomorrow, guys, we are going to share the relationship map. And you're welcome. And please be here. We'll be going live around 10:15. This is the time. And thank you for watching. I wish you love. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.